Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Power of the Mind podcast. I'm hypnotist Jim Kellner. And of course, I'm co hosting again with my friend, my colleague, Victoria Gallagher, the Law of Attraction hypnotist. She's also the #1 best-selling author of The Practical Law of Attraction. Align yourself with manifesting conditions and successfully attract your desires. She's also the founder of Hip Talk and the Hypno Cloud apps, which gives you access to wait, hold on, 500 hypnosis recordings right in the palm of your hand. I have it right here on my phone. And so be sure to download the app from the App Store, completely free to download. There's a bunch of free sessions on there too. So
Yeah,
welcome.
very cool.
Hi, Victoria. How are you today?
I'm great. I'm great. How are you doing?
Really good. Really tired. Just got back from 2 weeks on the road doing shows and conferences, and boy, it was good to be back. I used to always want to have a job where I would travel. That was my goal. And
Mhm.
now I'm just like, man, I'd like to kind of not do as much travel.
You know what? Isn't it true? I mean, that's one of the things like we'll attract things into our lives that we want. And then sometimes we'll find ourselves in that moment where it's like, wow, is this really what I wanted? Because, the reality can be different from the dream.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What have you been up to?
Oh, I have been, well, as you know, I'm working on my new app. We've kind of
Right.
taken a little break this week because my developers are in Pakistan, so they're having a
Mm.
holiday.
Oh,
And it's like one of those 3-day holidays. Like, why don't we have 3-day holidays here?
right. Right. My wife is from Vietnam, and like just a 3-day holiday is like that's just a standard. Like why wouldn't you have at least 3 days? And sometimes like for Chinese New Year, Lunar New, they call it Lunar New Year. They don't call it Chinese New Year because they're in Vietnam, but Lunar New Year, they have like a week or two, and like almost everything shuts down. Everybody's off having a good time.
That is crazy. That is crazy. Yeah, so I've
Yeah.
been doing that and I've been really focusing on burning more calories.
Mm,
This
okay.
this last year has, for whatever reason, my weight kind of got a little out of whack. And well, the ladies in their 50s probably can identify with their weight getting out of whack. But I don't want to, I don't like to just, be a victim to things like that. It's like I figure, okay, you know what? If the metabolism's a little lower, then there are things that I can do about that. So I've been just like really working on increasing the intensity of my workout so that I can
Mm,
burn more calories, and seems to be seems to be paying off.
nice. So running more.
Doing a little bit more running, doing a little bit more, we have these hills where these little, like, it's a nature preserve, and so hiking trails and stuff like that, and they go uphill. So rather than doing like the whole loop, I'll just do the uphill and then downhill and then uphill and then downhill. And when you're walking uphill on the gravel, it really really picks up your heart rate. And so that's been a little bit of a focus of mine as well.
Nice. Well, I'm definitely trying to take off I'm still trying to take off some COVID weight. I know it's been it's been a while now, but man, it's a little tougher than it was in the past, that's for sure.
It's just not fair. It's so much
Mm,
easier to put it on than take it
yeah,
off. I mean,
right.
like, I don't understand it. It's like you can, if you really, really tried, you could put away 3,500 calories in 15 minutes. You go to
Oh, easily. Yeah.
McDonald's or, get a Big Mac and French fries and a milkshake or whatever like that. And I mean, that's easily 3,500 calories. And you can do that in 15 minutes. Try burning 3,500 calories. I mean, most people burn 3,500 calories in a week.
Right. It's a lot of walking up hills.
It's a lot of walking. I mean, for me, I mean, burning even 700 calories in an hour
Mhm.
is quite, is quite the challenge.
Yeah, that's why it's always, it's I heard this saying a long time ago, like you can't exercise your way out of a bad diet.
No, no, you definitely can't. So yeah, you gotta watch the calories. You gotta watch the quality of the calories because a lot of people just drink their calories or have empty calories or and honestly, because I do like to partake in alcohol and drinking and stuff like that. And but that's high calories. And so
Right.
I've even had to, cut a little bit of that out just to just so I'm eating more healthy, wholesome food that has high protein and fewer calories and fewer carbs. So all of that. And it's all making me, feel like it's all we're all about self-improvement. So it's all just making me feel good.
Awesome. That's one of the things that so for a long time I had trouble, I would get so wrapped up in work that I would neglect my self-care stuff. And then it really occurred to me that really, if I'm going to advocate for a healthy lifestyle and stuff, then I need to walk the walk, and that's part of my job. Really, that's what I think of it as. Like when I go for a walk or I meditate, I'm like, that's part of my job.
You know what? You're right. It absolutely is. I 100% agree. And I've always been that way. I've always felt like, I mean, like I just can't really afford to and when I say afford, like I can't afford to do anything that's going to sort of be outside of what it is that I'm promoting. Like if
Right.
I'm promoting this law of attraction thing, I've got to have my act together. And
Yeah.
I promote personal development, I've got to have my act together. And so it's, no one's perfect, none of us are. And
Right.
that's one of the things too is you have to also allow for the fact that we're all a work in progress. But as long as we're working toward that and we're doing the things that we preach, practicing what we preach, then I think we're doing, we're on the right track.
Yeah. At least we're living with authenticity.
Yeah, authenticity and integrity.
Yeah. And so I know that you're using, with this healthy lifestyle, I know you're using law of attraction, and I know you've been doing this manifesting and law of attraction for a long time. I mean, you literally wrote the book on law of attraction. We talked about it all the time. Is there a, is there a best strategy? Is there like one strategy that maybe is better than all the rest?
That's a really good question. I advocate for really living in integrity with yourself and who you are. And and at the same time, I do believe that, so I take time every morning and meditate. I'm approaching 500 days on my
Wow.
instant timer. I'm like at 484. And even if it's only for 10 minutes,
Mhm.
I do that. But, to be perfectly honest, I have found one of the most powerful things that you can do, like besides meditation, is actually the written word. Writing down what it is that you want to manifest and being ultra clear and descriptive in your writing, to me, that's probably one of the most powerful law of attraction techniques that there is.
So I mean, let's say, for instance, Jim wants to start this process. What do I do to get started? Just grab a notebook and start writing?
Well, that's the very first step. When I first really restarted, because I stop and start, and I
Mhm.
don't know what it is about writing. It requires a different type of energy. And sometimes that energy, is not available at 5 o'clock in the morning to me. But I think so. When I started this process, restarted it again and committed to it, I did. I went out and I got myself a really pretty journal. I went to Barnes and Noble and I just looked around, and like this one actually, the journal that I started writing in, it said something about positive vibes only, or
Mm.
something along that line. So it just kind of, it's there and it's as a reminder. And it's actually sitting there in my meditation room with my pen. And so it invites me to actually get started on the writing. But yeah, I want to share a few of the different writing styles and a few of the writing methods that I've tried and I've used, and the ones that, particularly gotten really, really great results.
Awesome. Everybody grab your pen and paper. Let's get ready to write these down.
Yeah.
Speaking of writing.
Starting right now.
Exactly.
Right.
One thing
right now.
Yeah, exactly. Right now. One of the things I know we have to keep in mind that not everybody has listened to every episode. And so we probably, I know you've talked about things you've manifested before, but I just wonder, could you give us an example of some of the things you have manifested for those that have not listened before?
Yeah, fair enough. So, so a few of the things that, first of all, like, I think that every single thing I have in my life, I come from the opinion, the belief that every single thing, bad or good, even this coffee mug that I'm drinking my coffee out of, I've manifested. Like, we're always manifesting, and literally every single thing. So I like to point toward the good things that I have in my life when I talk about some of the things that I've manifested, just for inspiration. And, so I've used techniques. When I very, very first started this process many, many years ago, and really, really starting it based on knowing there was this term called the law of attraction. I used one of these techniques actually to manifest my soulmate, who I've been married. We've been married now. Actually, May 24th will be our 14-year wedding anniversary. So I used one of these techniques really to manifest him. I used another technique.
Whether he likes it or not.
Right. He's aware.
I see Steve running away. No, come back here. Law of attraction. I'm writing it down right now.
Right.
Whose law of attraction is stronger?
That's true.
Let's assume Steve was writing his law of attraction stuff too, and you were his soulmate too. So yeah.
You know what? And that we've done that. I will say there was a time when we really had to get honest about whether we were still right for each other. We really try to keep an authentic, genuine, like, not just going through the motions of like, okay, well, we're here. There's nothing we can do about the fact that we're married, right? And and continue to choose in, like, are we still choosing into this relationship? And so we took some time, a few days really, where we just kind of sat and we thought about our vision for our life, our vision for our relationship, and really got honest with ourselves. And we said, if we don't come back together and match up on these things, and we got to have a conversation. And it was a little scary, honestly. And so we each sat and we just, like, if you could just create your dream life from here, from this moment, what would it look like? And who would your dream person, and what would be their behaviors? What would be their favorite things, and all of that? So we literally took this time and we did that. We come back and we read it, and it was like, whew, we're on the same page still. This is good. There was like maybe 5% of the things on there that we weren't like 100% on, but that's okay. I mean, if you're good 95% of that, I believe you've met your soulmate. And so that was pretty good. But this dream house that I'm sitting in, this studio, I remember writing about before we bought the house. I literally, and I have it still sitting with all the mortgage paperwork and all the stuff that we signed. I still have the thing that I wrote, because everything that I wrote down, except for a pool, which we will eventually have, but like, literally, how much time do you honestly spend out by the pool? Maybe I mean, so we'll have that eventually, but literally, I mean, this house is everything that I wrote down and more. And
Mm.
so, I pretty much everything that I write down manifests. I actually used one of the manifesting techniques we'll talk about also just in business and for filling up my seminar last year. Last year it was getting really close and I was like, "Ooh, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to fill that up." And I'm like, "Let me just try this technique on that." Cuz I like changing things up. It's not that like you wear out this technique, but I just like trying new things out. I just like having a lot of the things that you can use to manifest. So anyway, I've there's so many things we could literally do 5 shows about just all of the things that I've manifested using, these manifesting techniques
Right. The intentionally manifesting, because like you said,
intentionally.
right, we're manifesting all the time. So what's the favorite writing technique?
Well, so of course, my favorite writing technique is the one that I use a lot and I teach a lot in my book and in my coaching practice and in my seminars. And that technique is really about the whole process of getting clear on your desire statement, which, it really starts with playing the complaint game with yourself, writing down your complaints, turn those into the preferences, and then, creating that desire statement, which you and I did together on episode 198. So
Right.
I don't want to repeat that for the people who have been, diehards listening to this podcast every week because, everybody can actually take a deep dive into that technique, learning about writing that desire statement by listening to episode number 198. But that is actually my favorite technique because it's the one that I kind of created.
Yeah. So just to reiterate, so the desire statement is number one.
That's number
That's the
one.
way. So
That's
whatever else, start with that one. So before you came up with that though, what did you were I know you were you were using this stuff for decades before that. What did you use before that?
So yeah, before that one of the ones, and this is, I don't know really who invented this. I mean, the Abe Hicks people talk about it quite a lot in their Ask and It's Given book. And this is where I actually even learned about this technique before learning about Abe Hicks. It was this Lynn Grabhorn who wrote this book called oh gosh, I had it like on the tip of my tongue and then it literally just escaped me. It'll come back, I know. um it's like right there, I can like see the writing on this book. Okay, but anyway, it was in her playbook to this book, and it's a method called scripting.
Mhm.
And what scripting is ultimately is it's, just kind of, first of all, you just want to turn on some really jazzy music, some good high vibe music, and you just want to like kind of write from, you're writing very fast and you're writing in a very playful way, and you're writing about like how the thing that you're manifesting, like you're just describing it in such detail, and you want to like be like very childlike, be like a kid, and you're just allowing yourself just to flow with this and just writing very very high vibe very quickly and very detailed, and like you're just so excited that this thing already came about, and everything that's going on in that scene, and you just write and write and write without even lifting the pen up. And so that is a technique called scripting, and it's just like literally you're writing the script for exactly who you would have become, how you would be talking about this, like almost like you're explaining this to somebody else. It's like, oh my god, I just had the most exciting moment, and I literally just we just closed on our dream house, and we're, the realtor's giving us the keys and we're just walking in and we're just like, woo, and you just write from that high energy place and you just allow yourself just to be really giddy and really childlike. And so I used that one actually to manifest. That's one of the ones that I used to manifest my soulmate. And I just really described everything about him and just what it was going to be like. And I kept writing it out over and over again, the way we met on the beach and the way he proposed to me and just all of that. And eventually, that happened.
Wow, I got to tell you, so every time I invent something, I discover that somebody else already invented it first
Uh-huh.
because because I'd had that thought a couple months ago. I was like, what if I wrote a story, or like the story, even it ends up being a book, like this is what happens on this day and this is what happens on the next day. And I was like, oh, I've never heard this before. Maybe I invented something new. And of course not.
And there's been so many authors that like almost lay claim to this scripting, but they just call it something different. So
Mm.
you could probably have
It's
your
called
own
something different.
you could have your own form of scripting and maybe just tweak it again. Because I mean, every idea is born from another idea. Ultimately,
Yeah.
one idea just gives birth to another idea. I mean, like if you didn't have cars, then you couldn't have invented, some other fancy car that couldn't have existed unless the technology of cars existed. So
Yeah.
there's
Well,
scripting, and then there's the Jim Kellner version.
yeah. I don't know if I want to jump on that because as you know, that goes on enough in our industry. So
That's true. That's true.
I had a quick question too. You're talking about, you made the motion, you're writing and writing and writing. And I'm wondering,
Yeah.
could you do it on a computer instead, or does it really need to be handwritten?
That's a really good question. So I love to write on my computer. However, I think there's far more energy in like it's somehow or another, like just holding the pen and your physical body and just the effort I think that you're putting into the writing, all of that I think is just, it's so much more personal, and it's like your writing, it's like it's everybody has their own unique way of writing their penmanship, whether it's bad or good or whatever, it is yours. And so seeing it there as you're writing that down, I personally think, and I think most of the people who teach this scripting stuff will say that handwriting something is actually far superior in raising your
Hmm,
vibration than writing on some technology. Although
gotcha.
I love writing on my computer, and I will do that, but I think it's actually, I think it's going to be way more vibration raising to write
Hmm.
in with your own handwriting.
All right, fair enough. Um, so we've got scripting. Are there other writing type techniques that we could
Oh
use,
my
or other
God, there's
techniques?
so many. And there seems to be a lot more coming down the pike that people are just coming up with. I won't get into like the 369 method. Maybe we'll talk about that in a future episode. But there's a
Hmm,
lot of methods like that incorporate numbers. And one of the methods that is really effective, I found, because it's kind of a newer technique, and I literally only stumbled upon it maybe in the last 2 or 3 years, and I never tried it before. Like, a lot of times I would just like, yeah, here's that new technique, and I don't actually try them, but I've actually
mhm,
been like, "You know what? I wanna use this for something." And so one of them, it's really simple. It's called the 5-5-5 technique. And
okay.
it's more technically called the 5 by 55 technique.
Hmm,
But they have the 3 by 33, the 7 by 77. I mean, as many different combinations of these three numbers as you can imagine. But so just to give you an example of the 5-5-5 technique, for 5 days in a row, you write your affirmation 55 times on a
hmm,
sheet of paper. And I got to tell you, I literally used this technique last year, right about this time of the year, when I was working on filling up my law of attraction seminar. And, I was just, what was going on for me, because I do believe that you have to have like one focus at a time. And so of course last year began that period of time where I decided I'm going to really really focus all of my energy on my app and just let everything just kind of shower from there.
Yeah.
And so I got to a point where like I had been focusing all of my energy on my app and everything was going great with that. But all the rest of my things that I needed to focus on started coming up. And it's like, oh my God, I'm not even going to do this seminar. I literally told the organizers that I wasn't going to do it. And
Mm,
because I hadn't had anybody signed up, and they kind of like held me to it. They said, "You know
mm,
what?" And because I said to them, like, "Well, I'm not even gonna do this if I don't have 20 people in my class at least. I can't do this seminar for a group of 4 or 5 people." And he said, "Well, that's like most people don't really get that many people in their class." And he started kind of giving me the rundown of like just to lower my expectations. And I'm like, no, and so somehow or another he convinced me to go ahead and do it. And so I was a little bit like, I guess you could say I was a little bit in desperation, like, okay, what am I
mhm.
going to do just to breathe some life into this? Because I just have been so hyper focused on this other thing. Like, how do I just switch gears right now? And so that's when I just decided, you know what, I'm going to just, use this 555
Yeah.
technique. And so I did. I made a very long affirmation. And so this is one of the things I was a little bit naive to, even myself as the law of attraction queen and the scripting queen. I made this like 2 sentence long affirmation about this.
Mm,
Well, think about how long it takes you to write one affirmation.
mm. Yeah.
Like that was taking me over a minute, like a minute and a half per
Ah,
affirmation.
wow. Okay.
So to do the 55 times was taking me about like an hour to an hour and a half. I was spending writing this. And you know what? Your hand after a
Mm,
while gets starts to get
yeah.
sore. And so my tip, the reason why I'm explaining that is because when you decide to do this 5 by 55, you want to be as succinct as you possibly can in your affirmation that you're writing down, because it's a doozy. Like it takes time. Like this is an hour and a half spent in the morning. And what do you think's happening while you're doing all of this writing? What do you think is happening?
Well, personally, what I was thinking, I may be off base here, but I was thinking, for me, like, and I think I'm going to use that technique to fill up my class. So, I'm teaching a workshop as well. So the street hypnosis for hypnotherapist class.
Yeah.
Um, I was like, this is a perfect opportunity because this is what I think of is I'm sort of like, oh yeah, I need to do that. Oh, I need to do that. But I'm thinking like, if you're doing that, if you are focused for, I mean, whether it's 15 minutes or an hour and a half, that's a certain amount of the day that's all you're giving your energy to. That's got to have an effect.
It absolutely does. And it's like, and I don't know if there's something, I still do kind of feel like there's a little genie in the bottle magic that happens just when you write things down in the first place.
Hmm.
And it's just one of those unexplainables. Like I'm not even going to try to explain like what that power is, but there is a certain power, I think, in writing things down.
Hmm.
Even writing it down just one time and looking at that and seeing that on that list. It's like I think your subconscious mind somehow has to fulfill that, and it's just looking for ways to give you the answer to how you how you fulfill that, because it's not like you just write it down and then you don't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Ideas will come to you. I mean, ideas would come to me, and it was just always top of mind. And so,
Mhm.
it caused me to, oh, maybe I need to send out an email talking about, maybe I need to
Mhm.
talk about this on social media. Maybe I need to make a post to the group. And so it just kind of keeps it front and center. And so that, I think there's a lot of power in that. But by the time you've said this or written this 55 times for 5 days in a row, you've said this, what is that? Like over 250 times you've written
Mhm.
this down, and that energy is just kind of like in you. It's like your subconscious mind is just looking for ways to fulfill this and make that happen. But just in hindsight, when writing this, you want to maybe make like no more than like 7 words, because I mean,
Okay.
your hand just like my hand would just get so tired writing for an hour to an hour and a half every day. And and it can get a little boring writing for that long, but if you stick with it, to me, it was pretty magical. I loved it. I loved it, and it worked, and I plan to use it for, for manifesting other things.
Could it be as simple as I am filling up my class at HTL, or do I need to be more specific or add more to it? Or
I think the word filling up, I think I would get a little bit more specific on
Mm,
what it means to fill it up.
okay,
So, if it's 50 people or 20 people or however many people you feel makes it filled. So, um, I'm filling up. I would just add the number, and like
gotcha. Yeah.
right now I'm kind of drawing a blank on exactly how I said it before. But like I'm manifesting 20 graduates, and that was the other thing
Ah.
too. I
Oh.
wanted people to be graduates. I wanted to make sure that the same number that started were the same number that finished.
Mm,
And the other thing too is I wanted to make sure that they were actually in their seats, so that it wasn't just that it wasn't just that you're getting those people to register. Some people, it's crazy. People register for things and then they don't show up.
yeah. And they pay extra money and they still don't. Yeah. It's crazy.
So I wanted to make sure that I worded it in such a way that, and I would visualize it well, because that's the other thing too. While you're writing this, if you can bring that to your mind and visualize what's happening and experience the feeling of what you're going to be, if you incorporate all of your senses into your writing, that just makes it that much more powerful.
Awesome. So what kind of techniques are you using right now?
So I'm always looking for and learning. I just love this topic. I love learning about manifesting, and I love reading a lot of those old timey books. And so I had read a number of years ago this book called It Works,
Mm,
and by R.H. I can't remember his last name, but I had this book, and then somebody brought it up to me. I have this manifesting mastermind we meet once a month, and somebody brought that book to my attention again in that class. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that book, and he was working with it, and I said, you know what, I think I want to reread that. I mean, the book is like 50 pages. It's
mm,
a quick two, 1 or 2 hour read at the most. I mean, I don't know
mhm.
how quickly you read, but so I have it on my Audible, I have it in my Kindle, and I reread it, and I decided, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and break ground on this. So the technique is called It Works. And the
Mm.
reason why it's called It Works, and I'm going to delve into it. What do you think the reason is?
Yeah.
It's called It Works. Well, the reason why is because the author, he gave the book to somebody to review, and he didn't it was it wasn't titled yet. He gave somebody the book to review, so the person actually took the book and did the exercise that's in it, and they came back to him and with a sticky or some kind of note, and it said it works.
Ah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So, but before he even published the book, he had already had plenty of proof and testimonials and endorsements that this works. So, anyway, so what it is, it's a 3-step process. And I'm
Excuse
going
me.
to say this, bless you. I'm going to say this kind of goes against a lot of what I have been preaching about, where it's about being very specific and focused on this
Oh,
one goal. Okay. And again, I always like to challenge my own beliefs. I think that you're not growing if you don't challenge your own beliefs and the
that's a
things that you,
rarity.
yeah,
Sorry to
so I'm
interrupt, but that's a rare thing.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it's like, well, let's just, you never know until you try. And,
Yeah.
I've always come from the school of thought that obviously the more focus you put on this one thing, the quicker that is going to manifest. But I decided I'm going to challenge that and see how this works. So it's a 3-step process. The first step is you write down everything that you want to manifest on a sheet of paper. And, and the way I've heard other people explain it in reality is they usually have about maybe 15 to 20 things on there. Like, I thought that I really wanted to manifest a lot of things, but really when I sat down and wrote them down, there's about 21 things on there. And so I wrote down a list of the 21 things. And this literally was less than a week ago. So
Hmm.
like, you asked me what I'm working on right now, working on this right now. So I'm not gonna, I can't even advocate that this works yet, because I only wrote the
Ah,
list. I wrote the
right.
list, and then the next day I didn't even actually do what I'm supposed to do. So I'm still, I need to get back in integrity on it. Because I'm really excited actually to give this a solid, like, I want to give this like a solid 90 days just to see what
Yeah.
happens. And then even after 90 days, who knows? But I'm going to give this a solid 90 days. So step 1, write your list. Okay. Step 2 is you read the list 3 times a day, morning, noon, and night.
Mhm.
And step 3 is every day you rewrite the list and when he actually says in order of importance. Now, I don't know how to really do it in order of importance, because I'm just writing like the ideas that pop into my
Yeah.
mind first. So to me, like, would you have to like write it down and rewrite it in order of importance? He doesn't say to do it that way. It doesn't say like write it down and then rewrite it in order of importance. I just write it down in order of that it comes to me. And
Hmm.
then the next part is that as things come to you, as you start manifesting some of these things on the list, then you just say, that you're grateful for that, and you allow yourself to feel the gratitude for
Hmm.
each thing that comes true. And he said, how you'll know. And so every day you're rewriting the list, and you're reading it morning, noon, and night. So he said, how you'll know that this is beginning to work is that the things that you're putting at the top of the list may change. And you'll
Oh,
notice that the list will start to evolve and change. And you'll notice that the things that were at the, highest level of importance are no longer like the highest level of importance, but you're putting other things. And that may be that you're just kind of evolving because you're believing more in your ability to, like, well, if anything's possible, maybe it's
right.
an even higher level thing. And he also advocates for, like, this isn't really for at the beginning stage of this isn't really for changing behaviors or changing habits or any of the sort of non-material things. This is to actually put the material things on there that you want. So, like, my material things that I want I want 1 million subscribers in my Hypnosis app. I want 10 best-selling books. I want, what do I want? I want a pool with amazing backyard, and, so I want to, have certain things and I'm not going to say, but I want to have certain things transpire in my intimate life, in my relationship. Uh,
Mhm.
so I want to, and I also did say I want to be 100, I want to weigh 124 pounds
Huh.
and in a healthy way. And so, when you're striving, by the way, for any kind of health goal and weight goal and things like that, you want to be very, very clear and very specific about how you want that to be. Because like you have to stop yourself. Like if you say that you want to be thin, the universe may find a way to make you thin that's not, really in your best.
Chemotherapy.
Yes. Yeah. uh, so all of that. And so I've got my list. I've written my list down the first time. It's surprising how difficult this can be for even people who do this, for a
Hmm.
living, to just remind yourself, like, oh, go look at your list and read it
Hmm.
and do that a few times a day. But if you can get yourself to do that work, I mean, I absolutely like have 100% faith that this is going to work. And especially when you start to see some of these things unfold and you actually look for evidence. Like I looked it up on YouTube. I'm like, well, I want to see if is anybody actually using this? Has anybody actually tried this and made it work? And I found this guy that I can't remember what his YouTube channel was, but he said everything on his list, like 14 out of the 15 things had manifested within one
Wow.
year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think that that's
Yeah.
really a key too, is before you decide whether to do something, find somebody who's actually done it.
Mhm.
And notice that, like, if it works for somebody else, then why couldn't it work for you?
Right. It's a good point. Yeah. Why not you? That's what I tell people. Why not you? Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that sounds awesome. Now I don't know. I'm kind of up in the air. I've got desire statement. I've got 555. I've got it works. I mean, so many
Yeah.
different ways of manifesting. But I'm gonna, I want to start with that 555. That's what I'm gonna do that
Yeah.
the
It's the
5 days.
simplest thing. I mean, it's like
Yeah,
a no-brainer.
easy. I mean, start that habit right away. What else you got for us? Do you have any other techniques you want to share?
Oh my God. I mean, we don't have enough time to go into all of them here on this podcast. I mean, there are dozens. There are dozens and dozens and dozens. I mean, we could do a theme on if anybody is
Mm,
interested in more of these types of law of attraction techniques, then, well, there's a couple things that you can do. Number one, in my law of attraction intensive that's coming
mhm,
up July 26th through the 28th, it's a 3-day immersive training. We're literally going to go into dozens and dozens of tools and techniques that are like this, not just writing techniques, but visualization techniques, hypnosis techniques, NLP techniques. This is like a treasure trove of law of attraction techniques. And it's a total immersion, total change your brain, change your life. Because, in order to, all of this stuff is really designed to change your brain, to rewire your brain so that your brain causes you to think about more of the things that you want on automatic pilot, causes you to feel how you need to feel, causes you to take action. And all of those things ultimately are what change your life. So if you really want to learn law of attraction at the deepest level, because all this stuff we spend so much time really delving into the subconscious mind in this class. That's why it works. I should call my class It Works.
Exactly.
Because it really does. It really does. Like every single
Yeah,
person that goes through this has dramatic improvements in their lives. So come sign up for the Law of Attraction Intensive, and I will teach you so many more techniques and tools and strategies that are really, really going to help you to align yourself with these manifesting conditions and change your life.
that's amazing. You know, I was just thinking too, when you were talking about all these different methods, it kind of, I kind of thought about, um, I say diet as in the way that people eat, you know, not necessarily being on a diet, but, you know, the great thing is, you know, which one of those manifesting techniques is best. It's probably the one that you're going to do, that you're going to stick with, the one that resonates with you, just like whether you're eating keto or, you know, low carb or whatever. It's really which one you're going to stick to is going to be the best. So it's great to learn all these different ones.
You know what? That is such a good analogy, the diet, because like not every diet works for everyone. And sometimes you can actually wear out a diet and that diet no longer is effective for you. I think I've worn
Mm,
out the keto diet. The keto,
same
like
here.
I'm like, I'm gonna have to, I'm afraid to change and do anything different. That, you know,
Mhm.
like to reintroduce carbs. Like what would happen if I reintroduced carbs in my life? It's kind of scary. But you know, it's absolutely true. It's like there's so many different eating styles that, you know, that one of them is going to work best for you, but then that eating style may not work for you. It's the same thing with the
Yeah.
manifesting techniques. It's like, you know, you work with different ones and find out which one actually works best for you. It may be a combination, and it may be time for you to really step up your game and learn something brand new. I think just putting some new energy into anything,
Right.
changing something, that's really the key to success in almost anything that you can imagine.
Something to get excited about. Hey, I know we gotta run, and I'm hoping you'll take us out of here. But I did want to give you a shout out. I noticed that you're back on TikTok and killing it again. Go follow her, LOA Hypnotist.
Thank you. Yes, I broke through. I'm just going to end with sharing a quick little story about that. So yeah, I used to do these TikToks, and I was kind of a natural. I sort of got a natural boost in views, and I kind of just took that for granted, and I left TikTok for a little while, not intentionally, but I just, you know, like you know, one day it led to the next, and I wasn't in the habit of posting every day. So I started about a week ago posting again, and I was like, oh, I've like totally lost it. You know, I was only getting, because, you know, compared to getting like one of my best videos before got like 25,000 views, but I was getting, you know, getting roughly like 1,000 to maybe 3,000 views on every video. And these first few videos, I was only getting like 250 views. And I was like, oh, am I gonna, you know, am I gonna ever get back? So I posted a video, and that video within 72 hours already broke my record from
Wow.
before. It's over 27,000 views now. And the next one after that was about, I think it's up to about 12,000 views. And so never give up. Even though things like maybe seem like they're just not happening. And I just got resourceful, and you know, and it's really about, it kind of comes down to with this whole TikTok things, like what do people want? You know, I've just kind of realized you have to talk about what other people want to know about, and then you can and build an audience, and then you can talk about what you want to talk about. But
Good
you
point.
have to kind of,
Good point.
it's a
Yeah.
balance, you know, it's like give people what they want to hear, and then they'll be more receptive to what you want to share.
Great point.
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you for that. That was, that's been fun.
Absolutely. I've had so much fun chatting with you again, Victoria.
Me
What can
too. Me
what can
too.
you do you want to take us out?
Absolutely. So, yeah, thank you guys so much for listening to the Power of Your Mind podcast. This has just been another wonderful episode. I hope that you have found these manifesting, these scripting techniques, these writing techniques powerful. I hope you'll take one and try it on for a week, a month, 3 months, a year. The longer the better, because you really want to give things a chance to really work for you. And the longer you build that habit for yourself, the better things are going to work. And definitely check out my HypnoCloud app. We are doing some amazing things. It's still going to be a long time in the process before this app ever gets produced and into the public, but use the one. It still gets amazing reviews. There's still lots of the whole point of it is, these are life changing instructions to your subconscious mind. And, most of my hypnosis sessions are all about manifesting, raising your vibration, changing your limiting beliefs, and helping you to move into the life you want. And definitely, no matter where you are in this world, I would love to meet you in person. Come take my Law of Attraction Intensive in Las Vegas, July 26th through the 28th. It's going to be mind blowing, and you're going to learn all about how to really manifest your dreams and come away with an amazing experience. So, thank you for listening, and we will see you next week.